Discipline, it's one of the most basic principles in football. And right now, it might be the New Orleans Saints' biggest weakness. After showing signs of fight in weeks 1 and 2 against the Arizona Cardinals and San Francisco 49ers, the Saints completely collapsed in Seattle. The result, a 44-13 blowout that raises real questions about where this team is headed under new head coach Kellen Moore. So, welcome back to Sports View 360, covering the New Orleans Saints today. If you're a fan of this team, I think you need to buckle up because today, I'm going to break down, what went wrong against the Seahawks and why discipline is becoming the defining storyline of this season. And what Kellen Moore has to do to to turn things around, in my opinion, based on my viewpoint. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop your thoughts in the comments, and do you think Moore can get this team under control before the season is, you know, by season's end? I'm not saying it's gonna get better to get this easily. It's gonna get back to the where they get to the playoffs, but can you show signs of cutting down on those penalties going forward? Because through the first 2 weeks, the Saints look like a young team that they refuse to quit. Now that's you still have your veterans on this team, but there's an infusion of young talent that's coming about. They weren't winning. They didn't win those 2 games, but they were battling against the Cardinals and the 49ers. You saw glimpses of growth to a certain extent. Quarterback, Spencer Rattler, you know, showed some signs of development, and a defense that while it's inconsistent, at least fought to the whistle. But against Seattle, that fight was gone. It wasn't there. By the 10-minute mark of the first quarter, the Saints had looked finished, and like it was done. And the numbers tell a story. 11 penalties for 77 yards. That's the third straight game where the Saints pretty much sabotage themselves with the flags. Just lose a game by that has caused the Saints 3 games this year. I know there's other factors that have played in the Saints losing those other 2 games, but penalties is taking a huge bulk of that, in my opinion. So here's the thing, though. This isn't just about being a rebuilding team. We all know this is a rebuilding team. With a rebuilding team with young players making mistakes. A staggering 15 of the teams of the Saints' 31 penalties this season have been pre-snap. Pre-snap. That means nearly half of their mistakes are happening before the ball is even snapped. That's not an experience issue. That's a discipline issue, plain and simple. So, and a lot of stuff is being committed by veterans, players that have been here for a while. You know, Chris Olave, Jawan Johnson, Brian Brzee. I don't. This is not young players to me anymore. Those guys are veterans. You know, and like it just. What do you do? Are these guys bought in? You know, because these guys have been in the league and the league long enough to know about it. So for the most part, this team is becoming its own worst enemy, killing drives, giving opponents short fields, and making life harder than it needs to be. Because if we're being honest, and I said this in a previous video, the Saints cannot afford to the Saints cannot afford to be down by two scores. 14-0 they lost. They gotta keep it in range. 10-3, 7-3, 10-10, 13-10, 17-10, or the game tied. They gotta keep it real close. You down by two scores and they can't get touchdowns or field goals, the game is pretty much over. Because even Spencer Rattler said it after the game. Quote, we knew it was going to be loud. Tough environment. We just shot ourselves in the foot with pre-snap penalties and a couple of post-snap penalties as well. We have to clean that. We have to clean that up, or it'll be tough to win games. End quote. So that brings us to Kellen Moore. Look, man, it would be ridiculous to start talking about firing him. He's 3 games into his first season as an NFL head coach. First, excuse me, his first time doing this, first time in the seat. But this, to me, this discipline issue, getting these guys to buy in, is the first major test of his leadership. And you can tell by this picture I have here as our featured image. You can see the frustration in his face. A while back in training camp, first week of the season, in the summer, he had that happy go lucky look on his face, always excited, willing to talk. But now, man, you can see the frustration is mounting. You can see it, and we all know his reputation. You know, he's built explosive offenses in Dallas, Los Angeles, won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles as their offensive coordinator. But being a head coach isn't just about drawing up the plays. It's about managing the entire team, installing, instilling a culture, and demanding accountability. In his post-game remarks, Moore admitted the obvious, though. Quote, "We're not clean enough. Too many penalties. Again, too many of them were under our control. There are judgment penalties in every single game, but the ones we can control, we can't have that." End quote. He's right. He more clearly understands the problem. But the question now is, what does he do about it? Does he put stricter measures in place during practice? Does he hold veterans accountable with public statements or even reduce playing time? This is a moment where Moore has to put his own stamps on his team, his own stamp on the team. And because here's the truth though, a team a team can overcome talent deficiencies with good schemes, effort, and a next man up mentality. You can still compete. You can still compete in this league, but you cannot overcome constantly fighting against yourself. The Saints' unforced errors are killing them right now. They've allowed block punts, giving up return touchdowns, lost field position battles because of mistakes. Those aren't those are things a young quarterback can fix. You know, those are the things the head coach Kellen Moore has to address and his staff. And for Moore, this is a chance to prove that he's not just a coordinator. Because I see a lot of people now starting to wonder. They're starting to feeling as though his tone, his posture at the podium, the way he is on the sidelines reminds him of Dennis Allen. Believe it or not, it's starting to start. It's coming about already in week 3, after week 3. You know, but The Saints may not magically, they're not gonna turn the season around. They're not drastically. They might, they're not gonna win a lot of games this year. But if Moore can clean up the discipline, if you can get this team to start playing smarter, tougher, and more accountable football, then the season can still be a step forward. I think they can win it. I think they'll win games this year, but it won't happen right now. At least for these first 4 weeks of the season. I thought they could have beaten Seattle a while back when the schedule first came out, but now for me, reality started to set in on how bad this team could possibly be. You know, so here's the bottom line though: the Saints' problems though aren't just about talent or rebuilding; they're about discipline, and that's on Kellen Moore. How he responds to this moment will define not the season, but possibly his entire team with this team. So, what do y'all think in the comment section? Is this just a phase? Do you think this is just a phase? More the team will grow through, or is it an early red flag about his ability to lead? Let me know in the comment section below, and have a blessed day. Peace. I'm out.